Matt and Dave's daily picks, and an entertaining and unfiltered dive into the sports betting industry. Here's Dave Sharapan and Matt Perrault.
And here we go.
What is up, boys and girls? Welcome into another episode of the Bostonian versus the Book.
Yes.
Live on YouTube, live on Twitter. Sports Grid, you late night owls. What's up? I guess West Coast, 9 p.m. Not too bad. Midnight on the Eastern time zone.
Not too late.
Not too late.
Not
We
too
have
late.
a lot to get to on the show.
We're late today.
Mr. Sharapan. We're a little late. Yeah, you were out rolling around. While you were rolling around, I almost killed myself. So I was putting the dog away, trying to put it away, and he was in my hand, and my foot slipped, and I landed on a stair.
On the steps? You were going down to the cage where the cage is?
I was going up. Foot slipped.
No. Uh-oh.
I landed all of my weight on my arm.
Ow!
Right on the stair, and I literally thought I broke my arm. I went,
oh
no. I go, the show's not going to happen today. So, yeah, I'm okay. Madeline is homesick, so it's a whole mess here. Today is an absolute show.
If you go down, we get you in a sling. You can still do the show in a sling.
You can, yes. Luckily, my jaw will still operate, but
you can
my
still
body
talk
will be
with your arm in a sling. Don't give me that bullshit.
Tomorrow morning,
show's canceled.
I'm going to have a bad arm tomorrow morning. It's not going to feel good in the morning. I landed
Where
hard.
did the dog go when you fell down?
I was like a football. He's a little chihuahua.
Right, I know.
Little.
So the dog didn't go flying. You held the dog?
No, I held him like a football. So I fell on my weight.
So you maintained possession on
Correct.
the fall.
Yes, no fumble. Yes, was able to maintain that.
Even if we use the instant replay ruling, which we might have
never
camera
moved.
footage of,
and never budged. I survived the ground.
The ball did not move. You survived the football move and everything.
Yeah, made the football move. Feet came out from underneath me, and I was able to maintain possession. So we were all good. So we're brawling here a little bit, hurting a little bit on this. We are going to talk a little now and then welcome in PSU Auto, Chris Otto. I know a lot of folks. I teased this interview on the Daily Juice last night saying this is the guy that has been responsible. His data is why I've been on this run for 8 days where I'm up 16 units in 8 days. Now I'm 8-1 in college basketball. So it's not just hockey, but hockey's been been the driver to the gasoline for the engine for us to go ahead and roll with. So we'll do a lot of things bouncing around today. Got a lot of good games to break down. Big college basketball day today. We got a lot of good games to get to today. But whenever we talk about Shohei Ohtani, our YouTube views go through the roof.
Way up.
It's the most insane thing.
Way up.
There's a continent halfway across the world that cannot get enough whenever we're talking about Ohtani.
They love this man.
Everything. You just write Ohtani and bam, the video just goes.
That's it.
So yesterday we hit spring training.
Yep.
Ohtani's on a 1-year deal. And his agent decides to roll out the idea of we're going to be hitting the open market coming up after this year.
What's he supposed to say?
Well,
that's exactly what he's supposed to say.
No, he could say we want to work on a long-term deal. We want to play in Anaheim. We want to play with the 8 and the Angels is where we want to be. They didn't say that. So we're going to the open market. As a Red Sox fan, I can tell you right now that the Red Sox are eyeing this immensely.
Everybody's eyeing this.
But they went and signed Yoshi this offseason to go and add some international players from that part of the world who have had experience with Ohtani, trying to make the landing soft to come and play on the East Coast. The Yankees will be involved. The Mets will be involved. By the way, the Mets payroll is $30 million more than the Yankees today, opening day. Can't say that very often.
No, not too often.
That's insanity.
Hell, the Pirates are interested.
Really?
Everybody's interested.
They can't be interested. It's one thing to be interested. Different story. Can you afford to pay the man? Well, Pirates are going to pay the man.
No, probably not. But
he's going to make $50 million a year.
5-0.
5-0. He's going to make $50 million a year. That's what he's going to make
with that situation. It's one man.
Yeah,
that didn't last long.
I know, it was 2 seconds, but she needed to have me open her drink, so it's okay. It's okay. It's quick and easy. $50 million a year that's easy. That's going to be.
Camp said the BVB is huge in Japan. Who knew? It is huge in Japan.
I know we're big in England, so I mean, we We got
That
that covered.
too.
We got that covered.
Worldwide.
We got that thing covered. But
Um,
if you're the Angels and you hear this,
what did you expect?
well, okay, but do you think this means if the team gets off to a rocky start, they want to be traded?
Listen, man, it's a job for a lot of these guys. It's just trying to get money. They play
Well,
baseball to get money. Doesn't
right, but
matter
I mean,
which team they play on.
I don't know because Mike Trout is spending his best years on a losing team, and
He's getting paid.
he
Yeah,
voluntarily chose to stay.
he
Could
took
have
the
left.
money. This is what happens when you
Yeah,
take the
the
money,
money
you
was
take
there
the
though. He
long
could no,
term.
no, no, no. He could take the money. The money from everybody was on the table for Mike Trout. He could have gone anywhere. He chose to stay. He took the money from the
He
Angels.
took
He
the
didn't.
money from the Angels because he took the money from the Angels. He likes it there.
Right, correct. Okay, yes, he
Okay.
likes it there. That's my point. But
Yeah.
he's going to spend his most productive years watching the playoffs.
Who gives a shit if that's what he wants,
Ooh,
right? If
well,
that's what he wants,
that's an indictment on him, his competitiveness. That's a
he can
massive
only
indictment.
control what he can control.
Correct. He can control where he can say, "I want to go play on a winner." He can go play. I mean, he could if
He
he wants to
took
stay
the
in.
money for a long-term contract to stay with the Angels. He cannot control what the Angels do to surround him with other players to do that. He cannot control that, right?
Correct, but he controls where he plays because he signed a free agent deal. If you say he likes LA, go to the Dodgers. They would have paid him.
Well, he don't like the National League. He likes Orange County. Have you driven from Orange County to LA County? That's a
I
terrible drive.
hate them
Kobe
both.
took an elevator
I hate
or
them both.
I mean a helicopter
Right. I hate
to
them
and
both.
from.
It's
Yeah,
horrible.
it's terrible. It's not an easy drive.
No.
So if he lives, in Huntington Beach or Laguna Beach in some ridiculous place and drives to and from the ballpark and enjoys it, the wife likes it, you stay. I don't know. I mean, it just I full what in the hell would Shohei Otani even say through an interpreter to say, "Oh yeah, let's work on a long-term contract. I want to stay here." What have they shown him that he wants to stay there for?
I would agree. So why you're talking out of both sides of your mouth when it comes to Mike Trout?
What are
I
you
like that
talking about?
Otani. I like that Otani is doing that. Otani's like, look, I'm not going to stay here to play for a loser. I'm going to go and try to find the bag, but go play for a winner. I'm going to go play for a competitor, an actual
I
team that
don't
can
think
win.
one is one and the same. The Angels Trout signed with the Angels because he liked it there and he thought they were going to be a winner.
No, he
No?
resigned. He resigned after 3 straight misses of the postseason. He chose
Well,
to
yeah,
stay
but they
there.
were trying. They brought Rodon in. They brought
They
free
were
agent pitchers
trying,
in.
but
It never worked.
it never worked.
It
I
never
mean,
worked. They
okay,
brought Joe Madden in to manage.
right? Didn't
I mean, it
work.
wasn't like they weren't trying. Try to
Well,
be on a team like the Royals or the Pirates, where it's acceptable to lose 100
it
games a
is
year.
acceptable to lose for the Angels to lose 100 games.
No,
It is
it's not.
acceptable. It is to them.
It's the norm, but it's not acceptable. They keep trying. They bring in free agents.
Come
Look
on,
at
they
this.
buy
There's
what?
6 teams in the league that don't even sign a free agent.
So they go ahead and sign one or two big ticket marquee items. They don't build their farm system. They don't build their pitching staff. They don't commit to actually winning. They commit to headlines.
Well, there's teams trying to do that as well, but I don't think, Trout said, "Oh, I'm just gonna sign here because it's I love mediocrity." He's
Oh, I
trying
think
to
he likes to be. I think Mike Trout very much likes to be unrequired to do certain things. It's why he
which is
doesn't want to
what?
do. He
Stay
doesn't do.
healthy?
He doesn't do endorsements. Okay, Mike Trout is nowhere
You
to be
don't have
found.
to do endorsements. When
Doesn't
you
have
make
to be,
that
but
much
he's the
money, you
face.
don't ever have to do an
Correct.
endorsement.
But as the face of baseball, okay, that's like saying LeBron James doesn't have to do
The
endorsements.
face of baseball? Mike Trout?
Sure, if he wanted to be, he could be
He's
easily.
not.
He's the best 5'2" player in the game,
Has been for so when was that the last
and
when
no one
can you
knows
say
it.
that was the case?
You made the case
5 years
now.
ago?
Today, you can make the case for the guy.
When's the
Today,
last time he did that?
Mike
Was the
Trout
best
is
player in the game?
the reason why he's not is because he plays after June 1st. He doesn't play any meaningful baseball games.
Check
Plays
his
games that
games
don't
played.
matter.
Check his games
Well,
played.
he's been
He's
hurt.
not the
Okay,
best player.
but
Okay, so he's not the best player.
well, when he's healthy, he is.
When he's healthy, he hasn't been healthy in 5 years. Could that be part of the reason why the Angels don't win?
Well, it's part of it. Absolutely, it's part of it. But you
Yeah.
invested because almost like what a third of their salaries invested in him, and you have Otani who's saying, "I'm not going to be Mike Trout," and I give Otani a ton of credit. I just think we got to watch this because I think if the Angels get off to a slow start, I think Otani could ask for a trade to be traded out. before the year is over. And they would bring back I mean, my gosh, what would Ohtani bring back for the Angels? The haul he would bring back would
To
be
be a
immense.
rental?
Yeah, to be a rental would be immense. It would be huge to have him come down for a team like the Mets, for a team that's starved for a
Eh,
championship that might be 1 or 2 pieces away. Heck, the Yankees could do it.
I mean, do you get him to be both, or do you get him to just be one or the other, pitcher
I
or
get him for
outfielder?
both. I get him.
Right.
I mean, I think it should be a closer, not a starter, but I think he'd be far more effective if he could hit every day and pitch every day, but it's a lot of wear and tear on the body.
It is. I mean, and that's the other thing too. How long can he continue to do that?
4 or 5 more years, I think easy. I mean, he's the unicorn. We haven't seen it before. He's a
Right.
talent that we've never seen. We talked about all last year about just how dominant he is on the mound as a starter. And then he hits, he plays every 6 days. He plays 5, 6 days a week.
Right.
I mean, he's an insane top of the lineup, power hitting, base stealing. I mean, I can't wait to see what he does with stealing bases this year with the new rules.
Oh, I don't want him stealing bases. Are you nuts?
Oh, I want him doing whatever he can do to be productive. I mean,
He's a pitcher. I
he's a
can't have
hitter.
him stealing bases.
He's a hitter. He's a pitcher and a hitter. I mean, he's both. I mean,
They can
that's the
do
thing.
both, but you can't. There's no need to steal bases and worry
I
about slide and all that other crap. You don't
I
do that.
want Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani off the Angels as soon as possible. Get them get them away from that franchise as fast as humanly possible to get them to play. I don't care with the Yankees. Get them somewhere where we're actually watching them play games in October. Because we're getting robbed of generational talents being buried in the number 2 team in the number 2 media market.
I don't know about all that.
Mike Trout's played in I think 2 playoff series in his career. 2?
I don't even remember any.
This is a Hall of Famer. It's been in 2 playoff series. Hall of
It
Fame player.
happens. It
Cool.
happens. Guys playing on bad teams.
Stinks. I mean, and it
Tony Gwynn
absolutely-
was the best hitter that ever lived. How many World Series he got?
I gotta
stayed
say,
with one
Tony
team.
Gwynn played in the playoffs. How many times did Tony Gwynn? He played more than
Played
Mike
in the
Trout.
playoffs a couple times, but
Well, that
you
I mean,
know,
just get
it
to the
happens.
postseason. I mean, if you get to the postseason and lose, that's okay. I'm not ripping anybody from getting there and losing.
Padres got there, I think, twice in Tony Gwynn's career.
He's not getting there. Trout's not even sniffing meaningful baseball after July 4th. That's why Mike Trout winning MVP in 2018 and Mike Trout being the MVP conversation for the last 4 years. Anytime I laugh at it, I was like, he's not playing in 2018. He didn't play a meaningful baseball game after August 1st, and he won the MVP. It's a joke. It's an absolute clown show.
He had
to
a
give
really good year.
He had a really good year. I don't care if you had a really good year. If you're
You just said he was the best 5-tool player in the game. He had
He
the
is,
best
but that
stats. He won the MVP.
doesn't mean the MVP. Mookie Betts' stats were right there. Mookie Betts was right behind him in a couple categories and ahead of him in a couple categories. And Mookie played on a championship-winning team. Mookie played in the playoffs. Mookie went and played. Actually, had a year that was warranted for an MVP vote, but he didn't have the clout. Didn't have the same cachet with the writers that Mookie does now. But at the time, it was still this little guy who plays the outfield for the Red Sox, so he can't
Right.
be MVP.
Right.
It was a ridiculous vote that gave Mike Trout the MVP that year, given what Mookie did in September and helping the team in October.
Thank you, Brommel Camp. Gwynn was in the World Series in 1984 and 1998. That's it.
See? Made the World Series. Mike Trout hasn't played in a championship series yet.
It was 14 years apart, and it wasn't his control. All you can do as a player is go show up at the ballpark, do the best you can,
He
and
didn't
hope
have to
that the
resign
team
there.
surrounds you.
He didn't have to resign there. He chose to.
They were trying. Well, I mean, don't forget too, the agents try to push you to the place that'll pay you the highest at the time. They
Fair.
don't give a shit where you play. They
Fair.
just want to get you paid so
Fair.
the next salary can go up. I mean, Bryce Harper, everybody laughed at him when he went to Philly.
True. I don't have laughed at him.
Why
I
did
liked the move. I didn't laugh at him. Some people did,
A
though.
lot of people
I-
gave him shit. Why
I
are you
liked
going
it.
to the Phillies? They stink.
Right.
Taking the money. They were one game away from winning the World Series last year.
Mhm.
It can turn like that. You know, you have to get the pitching. You have to get a couple more pieces. You cannot win a baseball World Series by yourself. Cannot be done.
The last time the LA
Ooh,
Angels.
Cal Ripken,
When's
Ernie Banks.
the last time the Angels were in the postseason was 2014. Mike Trout has played in one postseason in his career. One.
Yeah,
Not two. One. I was wrong. 2014.
that's it.
Here's the
9
record.
years ago, 2014 was, by the way.
Here's the record
9
of the team
years ago.
since 2010. The record of the Angels is 80 and 82, 86 76, 89 73, 78 84, the 98 win season in 2014,
Mhm,
85 wins, 88 losses,
mhm.
82 losses, 82 losses, 90 losses, COVID year, 34 losses, 85 losses, 89 losses. They're averaging about 83 to 84 losses per game. They're an under 500 team during the Mike Trout era.
The number of wins every year is the same, 81, 82, or 83, or 81 and a half or 82 and a half. It's anywhere from 81 to 83. It's the
Well, it's
same.
been 72, 77, and 73 the last 3 years of full seasons.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad. 72, 77, 73.
Season win number is pretty easy to make. It's 80 and a half or 81 and a half or 82 and a half every single year. It's great. So,
I will be very curious. My guess is Shohei Ohtani is going to ask for a trade at some point during this year, and I can't wait to see what happens. How many teams line up to go get him? Because if he's already tipping his hand saying, "Look, I'm going to test the free agent market," it basically means he's gone. He's going to go somewhere else and look to play. Could be Seattle, would be a phenomenal fit. Could be New York, Yankees, Mets would be a good fit. Red Sox, I mean, they've done well. Daisuke Matsuzaka was a huge star in Japan when he was with the Red Sox, so they have experience in that market.
he
that
could
could
go
happen.
to an AL or NL Central team and make them an
Oh, yeah.
instantaneous contender. He
Yeah,
could
I
go
just mean
to
like
St.
where would he
Louis or
feel most
Milwaukee.
right? Where would he feel comfortable? Like what friends? The Cubs have had history.
Wherever pays him the most is where he'll feel the
I don't
most
know if that's the case because I think that money's going to be pretty much I mean, how much is too much? Like I think he'll pick a winner.
Jose Ramirez took less money to stay in Cleveland because he liked Cleveland.
Yeah,
It might
a
be a little bit
rarity.
less, if he goes to, but like go put him on the White Sox. It's a wrap. I just they win a division and they may
Mm.
win 105 games. Because that lineup is ready to go.
Right.
There's, he goes to St. Louis, top of the rotation for them, put him in the outfield or DH, and holy crap, they go immediately to top level.
Normally,
Don't forget the Angels were in the Astros division, by the way.
so
The Angels, the last 4
Red
years.
Sox are in the Yankees division. What does that matter?
Yeah, they don't win every year either.
Red Sox have won 4 championships during Mike Trout's era. During Mike Trout's career is what they've won
Since
4.
2014.
Oh, I guess they've won 2 since Mike Trout came on board.
Okay.
Mike Trout was a rookie 2012.
Okay.
Red Sox won it in 13 and 18. So they've won 2 World Series in the same league, in the American League, with Mike Trout playing for the Angels.
Yeah, they would have won them with Mike Trout too.
What, the Red Sox? Of course, but that's not the point. The point is that you're playing on a team that is mediocre and you chose to stay there. So I don't think Shohei's going to do that. I think Shohei's going to go to a winner next year.
We shall see.
Yes, and whoever it is, get Mike Trout off the Angels, please. If I could, if I could take both of them and just stick them anywhere. If I'm Major League Baseball, they asked Trout, "Would you do more?" He said, "No." Said, "Would you be out there more? Would you do more for the league? Would you do more for the game? Would you help us grow the league?" No. Okay. Fine. Yeah, that's your right to do that if you would like to. You can just stay buried on the West Coast with East Coast people forgetting you even exist and forgetting to watch your games because they're on too late at night. So it's unfortunate.
You have to pick and choose which games you watch because he doesn't play all the games. Check his games played. They play 162 for the team. That number ain't close to that. Hit his games played column the last 5 years.
That's 5 years.
Be surprised to see. Yeah, from
he played 119 games last year.
Okay. How many games are in a season? 162.
182.
162.
It's the last. It's in 21. He was really banged up. Played 36 games in 21. Almost played the entire year during the COVID year, and then 134. 100. He played 50. Yeah, 60 games. He played 53 of them. That's fine. In 2019, he played 134 games. In
Okay.
2018, he played 140 games.
Okay. So
I mean, that's not
104 is
horrible,
decent. Oh, I mean, you take a month off of the season.
but that's not atypical for a guy to get nicks and bumps and bruises. You play every day to get an injury or two. That's not insane. I mean, he only in 2017 he only played 114 games,
Oh, okay.
but in the 4 years prior to that, 157, 157, 159, 159.
There you go. That's when he was the best player in the game. It's been a while.
Hmm.
And I don't know when he took the money.
I mean, he hit 40
Big
home runs
100.
last year. He had 80 RBIs.
Yeah.
Batted 283. I mean, 54 walks, 80 RBIs, played 119 games. That's not a bad year. It's a really
No,
productive season.
it's very productive when the games don't mean nothing. It's easy to take him back.
Oh, that's true. Amen to that. And that's why in 2018 he shouldn't have won. He shouldn't have won the MVP.
A lot of low leverage, a lot of low leverage at bats. So
I mean,
definitely.
he hit 312 in 2018, hit 39 home runs, hit less home runs than he did last year, had 79 RBIs, less RBIs than he had. He had 80 last year. He had 79 the year he won the MVP, less RBI than he had. Played in 140 games in 2018. Won the MVP.
Yes, sir.
Monster, crazy nuts. So we often laugh about the fact that the Boston sports teams are doing so well. Patriots are kind of mediocre, but Red Sox and the Bruins are phenomenal. You're
Right.
going to get me on this. I'm not so sure your team and my team are going to look all that different this season. Red Sox,
Pirates and Red Sox?
I think, are going to be really bad.
Oh,
So John Henry yesterday refused to speak to the media. Instead, he decided to answer a email list of questions from the Boston Sports Journal, which is a spinoff of some former mainstream media folks in Boston who started a website, a subscription site covering Boston sports. Soft landing. This team's got big problems. Red Sox fans are furious. They want answers. Have you seen the starting catching battery for the Red Sox?
no.
They've got a career AAA guy and a guy who shouldn't be in Major League Baseball as the backup. Like career minor leaguer who should never be getting a sniff.
It's hard to find catching in the big leagues, right?
Red Sox have always had good catching.
Yeah.
That's one of their calling cards.
They
For
don't
them not
keep
to have
one.
good catching.
They traded one away.
Yep. They wouldn't pay him.
Help the Astros win the World
Series. I mean, it's Red Sox. They lose Xander Bogaerts. They've lost so many players over the last 3 years that, I mean, the pitching staff's a mess. The lineup it could be better than we think, but it also might be an abject disaster.
Yeah.
And the natives might be really restless because if the Red Sox are losing out of the gate and the Bruins and the Celtics go on long postseason runs, Boston is always a baseball town. But John Henry, man, you won 4 rings. And so you think you have all this, carte blanche and do whatever you want, saying, I broke the curse and I've won 4 championships. Liverpool is a mess. And that is taking the entire Fenway Sports Group down. He said yesterday during the interview that made international news that he's not selling Liverpool, even though that was going to be a big question. They're going to take investors on. But that organization's hemorrhaging money. He's involved in NASCAR with LeBron and everybody else he's been doing stuff with. Not a good situation for the Red Sox right now. And you could see, look, Fenway Park is almost always sold out, but there is such fan apathy right now that you may see a weird-looking Fenway come July.
Huh.
People
Well, I mean, if the Celtics and the Bruins, go deep into the playoffs, you got cover for almost 3 months.
Yeah.
It'll be a complete distraction. You can start bad in April and May, and
that's their hope.
No one will notice. The Pirates are able to do it when the Penguins had Stanley Cup runs. No one was even talking about it. You could go to the games pretty cheap. It was actually not bad for people that were critical of the baseball team. So I don't know. I again, I don't want to put too much into just looking at stuff on paper and seeing what they got, but division's going to be hard. I mean, there's between the Yankees, Rays, and Blue Jays, that's no joke.
The Orioles might beat the tar out of the Red Sox.
And I was going to say that the wild card factor is the Orioles. Like, They definitely got better. They earned I mean, they were in a wild card race till the end last year, so
They got a taste of it and they want more.
it's been a while since the Red Sox have been in last place in that division, huh?
It's been a long time. I mean, it's really
Yeah.
crazy. Adam Duvall is playing center. He's a right fielder. Alex Verdugo is a left fielder. He's playing right.
Mhm.
You've got Kike Hernandez, who's a center fielder and probably a second baseman, is playing shortstop.
Right. Makes perfect sense. Yeah.
No one is playing the
Yeah.
right position.
What
This
is
is
this,
like a softball beer league.
I was gonna say, this is like a travel ball tournament where we
Yeah,
we got running out of players, and we just put people in different spots so we can finish the tournament. This is crazy.
it's not. I mean, I like personally, I love Alex Cora, but he's gonna have a really hard year. It's not gonna be good in Boston. One more baseball topic, and then we'll bring on Chris Otto to talk hockey with us.
Yes.
Aaron Judge says he may go after 62 and try to get and break his own record. He's plus 650 for the
What the hell is he
MVP.
supposed to say?
Well, I mean,
I
once
want him
it's,
to hit 62 again. No, don't you?
of course, but he could say it was a once in a lifetime. Of course, I try it, but it may be hard to do it again. It was a unicorn type season, blah, blah, blah.
Mm.
I mean, there's no way he could get to Bonds, right? Like
In
that
his
record's
career number
no,
or
no, no, no.
season
Single
number?
season. Single season.
Oh, hell no. I mean, I highly unlikely think so. Like that was um
Enhanced
maybe a little bit.
a little bit.
Maybe a little bit. The balls, all that other stuff, everything was
Mhm. Perfect.
yes.
But we know the balls were juiced for Judge too. That's been proven. Baseball juiced the baseballs to get Aaron Judge to 62.
I don't it just that it seems so far fetched for a guy. I don't know. Bonds only saw one or two good pitches in at bat and was able to do
Yeah.
that.
Mm,
Judge sees one or two good pitches in at bat and strikes out a lot.
fair.
Bonds,
But
Bonds
Bonds
did,
did too.
he
He
didn't
struck out a
really
lot.
strike out too much. He walked a lot.
Yes, he did.
He walked a ton.
Intentionally walked too.
Yeah, I mean they were
Yeah.
unintentionally, intentionally walking them
Right.
and all this other stuff. Judge swings at bad pitches.
Fair.
Like, so I don't think I, I don't think he could do it. That'd be great if he did. I mean,
Mm.
what a race though, like that would be. But was it too much last year? Like they were breaking into Monday night football games. They were
That was too
breaking into
much. That
Saturday
I
games,
thought
like
was wrong.
Saturday college football games.
That was dumb. Like you should let baseball fans find baseball. You don't need to force it because they were trying to manufacture what they saw with Bonds and Sosa. They're trying to
Right.
create that
It was
buzz.
forced.
Yeah, it was forced. It
Yeah, it
wasn't the
was
same.
forced.
It wasn't.
We don't want that.
We'd seen it before. That split screen that we all were accepting back when Bonds and Sosa were doing it. It's because we never seen it since 1961. We hadn't seen a run like that. It's 30 years. Well, we just saw it.
And it was coming out of the strike. Like that we needed
Correct. Yeah,
something to just captivate, and it captivated everybody.
to help baseball. Yeah. So
It's
I'll be
different.
curious. I mean, Bonds, was a guy that late in his career was still, doing a lot of amazing things because of steroids. Judge is in the middle of his career. He's nowhere near the end.
Right.
So what could he produce? What could he do? His lineup's getting better. Pitching staff really good. Him to win the MVP at plus 650 is not a horrible bet. If he stays healthy, he's going to be in the conversation.
Man. The chat's going crazy trying to find an MVP. Julio Rodriguez, Otani. I guess you could make an argument for Judge.
Yeah.
Is
He's
it
second on the
anybody? Is
Judge
anybody
is
in
second on the odds board.
National League?
I mean, the National League MVP is as wide open as the American League MVP is. This is going to be a very interesting year. This is a changing over year where a lot of the young talent could have major moments and breakout seasons.
Right.
And then some of the stuff what's going on with the Padres and Machado, and there's some questions about what's going on with those guys and the talent that they've acquired. National League is wide open. American League is wide open. It's going to be a fun year, I think, in baseball.
Right.
To watch and see who actually has the leg up. I think this year, I don't think there's a clear cut, like I would say that team is going to play in the World Series next year or this year. We're gonna wait to see how it plays out.
Oh,
Injuries.
yeah, for sure. I
The
mean,
Mets have
it's
gone
gonna be
for it
fun.
in a major way. The Phillies are obviously not going to want to sleep on what happened last year. They're going to want to get back. Trout's injury, Harper's injury is significant. When does he play? A lot of questions, a lot of cool things
They went and
happening.
got Trey Turner.
Yep,
Phillies are gonna be fine.
they're
That
going to be
that
good.
division's awesome
Yep.
too.
Oh, the AL
Wow,
East and NL
I've
East.
never seen this before in the chat.
What?
Seabass said, "NHL time, no more no more baseball talk today. We want hockey talk."
All
How
right,
about that?
let's do it. It's been
How
productive.
about that?
So let's bring on the guy. This is the man. This is the Twitter account that if you guys are not following it, I don't know what you are doing, because
don't
it
know
is
either.
literally found money by going through and watching and realizing the trends that this man is pointing out.
Man, oh man.
For the first time, joining us here on the Bostonian versus the Book, Penn State, Pennsylvania. He is Chris Otto, PSUOTTO, not like automatic.
No.
Otto like the otter
Yes.
on BBB. Chris, Matt,
OT
and Dave, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you guys for the welcome. OTTO. Yep, I say it every day.
Do you say it last night while you're bowling? I mean,
Ooh.
do you
Yeah.
have to give the name while you're bowling? Throwing put guys in the chat. I'm not going to say it out loud, but what do you think Otto's bowling average is? He's in a league on the regular every Monday night. Is that the only league you're in, sir? Or you bowl like
Yeah.
Thursday nights too?
Nope, just one league. Monday
Just
night.
one league. Size him up. Put his average in the chat before we get to the hockey talk. You got to tell people your name every day.
Yeah, I usually always spell the last name. Just
Oh.
because it always gets AUTO. Though I've never met anybody ever with the last name AUTO.
It's a really good point. I don't think I ever
No.
have met anybody with the last name of Otto with an like automatic. That's a really interesting point.
I
Yep.
love
Chris, let's walk it back to the beginning. When did you start doing spreadsheets? When did you start tracking first, second, and third period trends in the NHL? When did you get fully immersed into this? Because I think everyone's wondering, how do you do this?
Yeah, so 2018 was the start. There was a group of teams that year that we identified, or actually a guy I work with a little bit in Chicago, Alex Smith. He identified 6 teams that were going over in the first period on a pretty regular clip. They were all above 70%. So he identified that. He gave it to the guys at VEASAN, and I picked it up from VEASAN, watching their show. So I started to follow them. Nobody was tracking it, as far as I know.
Right.
I would just watch their show every day and do like screen grabs of the data. And so then that did really well that whole spring. It was like Tampa, Columbus, Pittsburgh, Chicago. There were 6 teams.
There's not a
And if
pun intended here, but it was automatic. I was in the
was.
risk room at the time, and I was watching the show in the morning as well, going, "Is anyone paying attention to this shit? Because this is all keeps happening."
And at that time, the juice was low. Like you
Was
could get them at minus
not when I moved.
110, minus 115 at the start of that.
Yeah.
So you could single bet them, which we were doing. And
Right.
then if they played each other, so if Tampa played Pittsburgh or Tampa played Columbus, you could parlay them together and it was a nice return. So
Yeah.
and when those teams played each other that year, it was like 90%
It was ridiculous.
win.
Oh,
So obviously made a killing that spring doing that. And then over the summer decided, you know what, nobody's doing this. I'm just going to track it. And so I started tracking it on my own. I wasn't even betting it. I was just tracking it to
Yep.
see what the numbers were
Yep.
that first year. And so that was 2019, then COVID, right? So I had basically a year worth of data. And then we went into the bubble. And
Which
that was
changed everything.
Yeah, it completely changed everything. The data basically was worthless
Right.
through that COVID year. I mean, we still did it, but I didn't do that great at it.
No.
Yeah, first period unders in the bubble were phenomenal.
Right.
I killed first period unders in the bubble.
Yeah.
So then we came out of the bubble, and that was, I think, 2021.
Yep.
I think, right?
Yep.
That was the first full year that I said, okay, I'm going to commit to this. I'm going to track it all. I'm going to bet it, and I'm going to post it up. and it went crazy in the spring. That would have been last year from like December through the end of March was just unbelievable. I had a day in March last year, I think it was March 1st, where I went like 21-1 on wagers. It was like a plus 26 unit day or something stupid. So I mean, yeah. So that kind of stuff just gets you hooked, right? You get hooked into it.
Yeah.
You got to be careful. And like what happened yesterday, if anybody follows me yesterday, I had a brutal day. Those day games, right? So hockey is
They're
routine.
a mess.
Those
The
guys
day games are a mess.
Yes, the hockey guys are built. They're creatures of habit. They do routines. They all do the same thing. They eat the same thing. So when you throw 4 day games in at 1 o'clock on a Monday, that's recipe for disaster, which is what it was. So yeah, that was my fault. I didn't think of that beforehand. I got so engrossed in the numbers, and we've been doing these second periods. It's just been insane. I just was like,
That's
okay,
what I wanted to
go.
even go to next. So you do the first period numbers, you got a couple years of source and data. The second period thing is kind of a new thing, is it not, sir?
Yeah, so I actually just looked at that yesterday. So last year, for the entire year, 2021-22 season, second period overs hit at a 63.61% clip for the year. So
Is it
63%.
always 1.5, Chris?
Well, that's where I track it. So I mean,
Okay.
It's not.
you
Okay.
can. It's not. I mean, I have books where I can move it. So MGM and
Mm,
Bet Rivers,
mm.
I can move. So I can bet 1.5. I can bet 2. I can bet 2.5.
Oh my.
So you can drag it and
I'm
get whatever
jealous.
odds you want. So that's where I do the most of those second period bets. And I usually, especially
Well,
if I'm going
what's the juice you're paying on over 1.5?
usually 2, 2, 2, 10,
$2?
225.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because
So it's
so
a two team.
stations here in Vegas is I've been tracking it for the last 3 days. Stations here in Vegas puts up morning of second period. I have not seen if I can parlay them or not yet. I don't know if I can do that, but I can definitely bet them straight. And it's anywhere from minus 175 to 240.
Yeah, so I mean, some games I grab them early. So you'll see most of my bets I make the night before.
Yeah, me
Right.
too.
If
Yeah.
you look at Toronto Buffalo right now, Bet Rivers second period over 1.5 minus 275.
Oh
I mean,
my God.
so
Let me see
you
what
have
stations is.
you
Now,
have
is
got.
that the only options, Otto? Like for
I
that
mean,
one,
you
or
can
can
go
you
to
move it
2.
at Bet Rivers?
You can move it. Two
Okay.
two's minus 157. 2.5 is plus 123.
You said the
3
you said the which game is 275?
Toronto Buffalo.
Toronto Buffalo.
Toronto Buffalo.
Total 7. It should go over.
That's funny. Yeah, they don't even have that. That game's not even up at stations.
Really?
They just said screw it. We're not even posting it.
Wow.
Oh no, there it is. I'm sorry. It's minus 240.
Yeah,
Oh,
so a
hello.
little better there.
Yeah.
Shop around. BetMGM does it too. You can bet them pre-flop. But that's why when I do these second periods, I either bet both teams to score, so I track that as well.
BTTS, Dave.
Yes, BTTS.
Both
It's a soccer
teams
term.
to score.
Soccer
Yeah,
term.
that's
Yeah.
what I've heard.
Yeah, so Edmonton's the best of this year to the second period BTTS. They're at I think
Flyers today. That's
61%.
I like that bet.
So yeah, I'm on that today.
Yes.
But when I do the second period over 1.5s, I do those in round robins where I parlay them together because obviously I'm not laying 250,
Right.
220, 240.
Right.
That's insane.
That's
So
not-
yeah, I put them in a round robin, and usually I won't bet the round robin all the way through, especially with minus odds. It's not advantageous to me. I usually do the 2-pick only, maybe the 3-pick, and
Okay.
don't extend it all the way out. Especially if I'm doing like 6 games today. I have a 6-team round robin today.
Right.
I just did the 2-pick. So basically, 2-team parlays all the way through of all those, and hoping I get 5 of 6. If I get 5 of 6 or even 4 of 6, we'll be profitable.
It's profit. Yeah.
So let me just run through some of these second period numbers, and you do an amazing job by putting this up on your Twitter account at PSU Auto. It's on the screen if you're watching it on Sports Grid or YouTube or Twitter. So Washington is 13-1 to the over in the second period, over 1.5 goals. They're not playing today, but Toronto
Washington is playing today.
Oh, they are?
Washington, Detroit.
Washington's
Sorry.
playing Detroit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Washington is playing today. Okay. So Washington is playing. Toronto's playing today. St. Louis is playing today. Vancouver's playing today.
Yes.
The top 4 teams to the second period over 1.5 goals are all playing. So
Yes.
do you take those top 4 teams, Chris, and just round robin them?
Yeah, so, I look at my data and determine what I'm gonna do and how I'm gonna do it. I like to have both teams on a positive streak. I don't wanna bet a team that's under 500 the last 10 against a team that's doing well. I wanna make sure
Right.
both teams are contributing. I wanna make sure both teams are scoring goals, especially if I'm doing the BTTS. Like, I need to make sure both of those teams are scoring and not just giving up goals. But yeah, I kinda lay it all out there, and, if people are going to the portal, my Patreon site, I do the matchups, head-to-head matchups for every game out there with data. So you
Oh,
can look at all these data points on every game head-to-head and see really where the percentages are the best. But yeah, and I identified 6 games today: Detroit, Washington, Montreal, New Jersey, Toronto, Buffalo, the Kings and the Wild,
Wild.
Vancouver and Nashville, and Philly, Edmonton. Those 6 games I have in a second period over 1.5 round robin.
Vegas and Chicago, no? Is
No.
not on the list? Wow, okay.
what do you make of
Um, go ahead.
what do you make of Minnesota? Because this team is on an 18-2 run, first period under,
Under.
but they're one of the best second period overs.
That's been historic for Minnesota. If we look back years past, they've always been a really good second period over team, and they've could have been hit or miss in the first period. So
That's
that
weird.
tells me that's a coaching style. He wants to start the game slow and not get
Wow.
run out in the first period, and then they kind of open the game up in the second period. Because that's happened probably for the last 3 years.
Wow.
Minnesota has been a
Wow.
top 5 team in the second period going over. This is the first year I've seen them be such a dominant team to the under in the first period. But that's a normal trend for them in the second period.
The chat is rolling here. Stations is allowing parlays on second periods.
Good.
MGM and Barstool have it.
Yes.
It says BetMGM has them now, et cetera, et cetera. The chat also puts you at about a 240 average. I mean, they have no idea how hard a 240 bowling average is,
Yeah, that's
Chris.
that's you got to bet the under there. But
Yeah, that's right. I was going to say bet the under, but I mean, you still can, throw almost a 700 series every week.
I
So
mean,
that's
267 last night and threw 11 strikes in that game. So,
yeah,
hey,
that's all. 11 strikes at a 267, and he's up doing charts and all this stuff.
Well, I think it's what's so interesting about this, Chris, is that you're doing these charts without knowing the goaltenders overnight. Like the goaltenders don't matter. Like for the longest time, hockey bettors used to say, you can't bet hockey overnight. You got to wait for the goaltenders. Your data says otherwise, does it not?
at least in the second period, it does. Now, a lot of first period wagers, especially first period under wagers, I like to have an idea of
Right.
who's playing in goal. And, if teams are playing a back to back or they're coming off a back to back 2 games ago and the backup played, you can make some informed decisions about what you think is going to happen in goal. It's backfired for sure. It's happened a couple times this year, but yeah, I don't weigh on that as heavily as I used to. Certainly not for second periods. No, like I said, for first periods and specifically first period unders, I want to know who the goalie is. I'd like to know for sure.
Does any of this apply to the full game? Because a lot of people would rather just bet the whole game total or even in-game wagering. Can you use this information to apply to either, like I said, the full game or what you see something in game and go, you know what, I'm going to make a play here.
Oh, 100% on live overs. Like that's
Yeah.
where this is
Yeah.
valuable. So Minnesota is a machine on live overs, right? They go first period under and then they go second period over. So if they go scoreless in the first period, you've got a realistic shot at getting 3.5. If
Yes.
if the second period goes scoreless for maybe the first 2 minutes, 2 3 minutes, you can probably get a look at 3.5. You can certainly get 4.5 during the break
Right.
at probably plus money.
Yes.
So depending who they're playing, again, you want to make sure they're playing a team that can also score. If Minnesota's playing somebody who doesn't score much, like a Columbus, maybe that's a little bit of a warning. Maybe then you just bet Minnesota team total and don't
Right.
bet the full game, just bet the team total. You probably
But
get that at 2.5.
today is a prime example of what you're talking about, though, because they're taking on the Kings, who are a 7-2-1 team to the over for the game over their last 10. So the first period goes under. bet the second period over, bet the game over. I'm betting 6 under 6 with the first period under, hoping for a 0-0 score in the first period or 1-0, and then trying to middle it, go over 4.5, hit it at 5, and go under 6 and over 4.5, land on 5, get the first period under, and hit all 3 bets.
Yeah. I mean, really, with the way the scoring is in the NHL right now, any game that goes 0-0 after 1 is a good play to bet the live over, because you can
Right.
probably get 3.5, and any pretty much. I don't know the exact percentages, but I would say it's a high percentage of games in the NHL that go over 3.5. Very rarely do you see a game stay under 3.
There's hardly any more 2-1 games or 2-0 games. I mean, it's really, and 3-0 almost never happens. I mean, the
Right.
shutouts are just not even happening like they used to. So there's definitely a lot of validity to that.
And
Now
for those who are asking, Dave, like, you can go to a website called EV Analytics,
Yeah,
which gives you the breakdown of full game.
Yeah.
And you can take the full game information that's available on that website for free, and take the website information, the Twitter account information from Chris, and you can put them together. And that's what I do every night. That's how I find my bets every night, is by comparing and contrasting that data, full game, to first, second, and third periods. Because looking at what you do, Chris, it's remarkable to watch how certain teams perform in the third period versus the first period, because sometimes it's totally lopsided, right?
Right. Yeah. And the third
Yeah.
period, is going to be dictated kind of on how the game's going. So if you got a 4-0 game going into the third, I wouldn't bet that over in the third. Likely the team that's down is probably they're not going to pull their goalie down 4. So you got to really watch for that, because a lot of the third period stuff is dependent on goalies being pulled, whether or not that's going to happen. So that's hard to predict. Very hard to predict pregame. Obviously, you don't know how a game's going to play out, but midway through the game, you can sometimes get a feel for what the third period's going to look like.
How about by the way, EV Analytics is my buddy John, who we're going to have on the show as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So
Nice.
yeah, he
Oh,
was
I
just
love
here.
that site. Oh,
Yeah,
that
EV
site's
Analytics,
amazing.
Yeah. So it's great. Shots on goal, Chris. Is that go into the factor at all? Because, like, you're seeing, Hellebuck's had 50 saves last night for Winnipeg against the Rangers. And I mean, I talked to Blewett this morning. He was at the game last night with his kid. He said they weren't a lot of, like, high leverage situations. There wasn't a lot of shots between the slot. But how much do shots on goal come into all this? Because I feel like shots on goal props are ready to be had as well.
Yeah, I have a lot of guys that I follow on Twitter that do a lot of shots on goal props. It's not something I've ever really got into, but I definitely look at the data to understand who is shooting the most. Obviously, shots on goal are going to equate to goals, right? So
Right.
teams that aren't shooting are not going to score as much. Teams that are giving up a lot of shots, so that's been a
Yes.
real angle this year. Anaheim, San Jose, teams like that give up a ton of shots.
Yes.
Yeah, they're
You
really good
are
teams
at
to
the
go against.
mercy, though. Do you guys see what happened with Bergeron's shots on goal last night? Because the ruling, the official house rules, is the puck has to be headed towards the net and would have gone in unless the goaltender was there.
Correct.
Bergeron's shot was saved right on the outside of the left goalpost,
Mm-hmm.
and they ruled it to be not a shot on goal because it would not
Oh.
have gone in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
2.5. His total was 2.5. That was his third shot. It would have gone over,
right.
and they ruled it to be not, and they only credited him with 2 shots. So with shots on, that's why I'm scared of shots on goal, because you're at the mercy of the person determining whether or not it would have gone in.
Yeah, it's a
Right.
little bit of a judgment call, right? And
Yeah.
betting on judgment calls is tough. I've had 2 instances this year with goals, empty net goals scored at the buzzer, that video replay has shown the puck across the line with 0.4 left on the clock, and they wave them. They say no goal just to get out of there, because they don't want to have to drop the puck again. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's happened twice this year to
Ugh.
me on overs.
Chris,
Brutal.
I asked this question to Dave, but back to Minnesota for a second, because Minnesota was plus 115 on the first period under. The books have to know that the Wild are on an 18-2 run to a first period under. I mean, we're talking about a fourth of the season here. They're going under over the last 20 games. And Gustafson's in net tonight for the Wild. Do the books not see action, or do they just play their numbers and they don't care if it loses?
I don't know. I mean, I've bet it pretty much probably 15 games in a row and said thank you very much every time for the plus odds.
It's
So
plus money every time.
whatever, right? It's not my book. Dave wouldn't have it plus odds. I can certainly
Hell
tell you that.
no. He texted me that too, and I was like, they're not paying attention, or
I'm-
nobody's betting it.
Significantly.
Both.
No one's betting.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there's 3 people betting it here.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, that's what, yeah.
We're betting it. I don't know. It's wild. I mean, thank you. It's a great point. Just say thank you. Because
that's
plus
all.
money
take
on
it
it
and
is
go,
dumb.
right? Move on. Move on with
That's
your
it.
day.
All right, last one for me. We saw you, I think it was Halloween, in the hot dog costume,
Oh yeah.
for the basketball, officiating basketball. You're big with the softball, with the kids, a girl dad, coaching, playing, all this other stuff. How did you get into watching and tracking this hockey? Because you golf, you bowl, you coach,
You bet.
you're a dad, you work, you do all this stuff, and you're immersed in this hockey like it's your job. I don't understand it. How did you get into this?
I'm lucky. I'm one of the lucky people in the world that can live on like 4 hours of sleep.
Oh.
So yeah, I usually
For
don't
now.
go to bed till, for now, right? Yeah, let's do it while we can, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot for sure, and it's a lot of stuff that has to be manually tracked. But it's been profitable, right? And so we're making money. Made a
Well, you're
lot of
making money
last
for
year, right?
a lot of people, but let us make
Yeah.
you some money. How can people say thank you? How can they subscribe to your Patreon? How can they give back to you? Because I've had many people ask me, how do I, I'm the reason why. And I've said, this is not from me, guys. It's like, go to Chris's Twitter account. There's a
Right.
tip jar there. Go put money in. But how can folks give back to you with the work you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, there's the Patreon site. It's a monthly subscription, $10 a month, so like minimal money, right? Just doing this for to help cover some of my time. But yeah, $10 a month. Sign up on the Patreon site. I do the scoring charts that are posted up on Twitter every Monday or every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Um, those are out there. There's daily matchups that you can see the data head to head every day. So those are out there. And then yeah, there is a tip jar out on the Twitter. There's a website there you can go to if you want to give a tip. But hey, I'm having fun, man. Right? This is fun. We're making money. We're
We're
having
gonna
a good
make
time.
you a star doing this. You did the show with Mac. You can do our show. You're gonna be on regular now. We're gonna have to
Oh,
talk
yeah.
to you. We talked about this. This applies right now, and the things are going good right now. But when this playoffs start, all bets are off, right?
Right. Yeah. Things are going to tighten up. Less period
Okay.
bets in
Yeah.
the playoffs. More full game stuff.
Right.
Well, the bad
Yeah.
teams are out too. Like Vancouver doesn't exist in the postseason.
Exactly. Right.
So
Right.
you
Yeah.
can't
So
just keep on hammering the Canucks.
yeah, 2 completely different seasons. And really, this season will flip. The clock is ticking here. When we get to mid-March, early to mid-March, that's usually when we shift from an over league to an under league. So there will be some opportunity there for a few weeks to come in on the unders, because the
Okay.
books will still be going high on. I mean, we got 3 sevens out here today. There's
Right.
some
We have
stupid
3
lines
now?
today.
What are the 3 sevens besides Philadelphia?
We got Philadelphia,
not-
Edmonton.
Yeah.
We got
They moved Vancouver yet?
Toronto, Buffalo. There's a couple sevens,
Okay.
and no one else that I'm looking at is
Okay.
7, but there's
Okay.
6.5s with major over juice in
Juice.
Anaheim, Tampa, and
Vancouver.
in 6.5
Vancouver. I would
Vancouver
think
National.
Vancouver. may
Vancouver
close
National,
seven.
yeah.
That may
Yeah.
close 7. And that line on that Tampa game is just silly. What, -5 something, 540.
Somebody has
580.
650.
Yeah,
Oh my
minus
God.
580 on DraftKings. I
Oh my God.
I just sit back and watch that game. I can't
$6.
bet anything
What
there.
the heck are we doing? Chris, thank you, man. Thank you personally.
We are Penn
Thank you.
State.
Thank you for everything you're doing. Thank you for the work. It's been an unbelievable hockey year, and it's been so fun to take your data and all the work you're putting in. I hope the folks take care of you and go and subscribe to your Patreon and give you tips for everything you're doing. Thank you so much.
Yep.
You'll be back on the show very soon, man.
Yeah, shout out to the brigade. Shout out to the Discord. All awesome people out there. So love to be in the mix with everybody. And
Awesome,
thank
man.
you, guys.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
brother.
As Chris Otto, go follow him on Twitter at PSUOTTO. PSU Auto on Twitter here. on BVB. Fun. I mean, just
Good stuff, man. I mean,
good, it's great stuff.
the guys doing it literally in the middle of the night, making sure that, works during the day, does the dad thing all night, coaches, throws BPs, doing all the same stuff. I got him in touch with a couple people in Pittsburgh. He's doing it all on his own, traveling weekends and he got into this. And this is really this is helping to sometimes pay for some of the costs of the tournament. And it's a labor of love. It's awesome. He found us through Twitter. I
Yeah.
went and hung out with him. He brought his dad out to Vegas last year for a bowling tournament. And we hit it off, and I said, you're gonna definitely be a big contributor to what we're doing. So glad he got to come on the show. It was fun.
Yeah, we'll do it again for sure. Again, because I'm extraordinarily thankful for what he is doing. It's been a ton of fun this year with hockey betting. Speaking of which, the Boston Bruins are now a ridiculous plus 20 units on the puck line this year. I mean, have you seen this?
Never in doubt. It's really annoying.
Well, yesterday was a 3-1 final, but
yeah, but it was they
got
got up with 8 minutes to go. It wasn't like they were
right.
like I had. To
Oh no,
worry
then
about
to win the game was never in doubt. It doesn't matter how many goals were they going to win the game by. I mean, they're on pace to set the record for the most wins and the most points in the history of the league. But their puck line, it's not like they're winning 2-1, 3-2. They're 36-20 on the puck line. Only the Philadelphia Flyers are better. More on them in a second. But they're up 20 units. They're up more units than the Flyers are.
Yes,
if you bet every single one. When do you think Boston throws it in neutral, or does Carolina's season in what they're doing to push them keep the gas pedal down?
Keeps them down. It keeps them going. They can't. There's no let up. The best thing for them is that Carolina keeps doing what they're doing.
Right.
You can't have this type of season and mail it in the last 15 games and not have home ice throughout.
Set the record.
You have to have home ice throughout. That place was rocking. That was a day game yesterday. And
kids, all the schools are out. It was a huge school day.
It was.
When you bring the kids in, they scream and yell and they make it way louder than it normally would be anyway. So it adds the energy to the building.
They got all the energy they need. It's unbelievable.
Right now they do. Pasternak with 2 goals, another 40-goal season for Pasternak. The Ducks are 18-12-1 to the over on the road. Tampa Bay is 16-9-2 to the over at home. We can't lay aside because of the juice being stupid, but can you bet over 6.5?
Yeah. I think so. No?
Yeah. I think I haven't, but I think you could easily. I looked at it hard. I mean, the numbers say to do it.
Yeah.
Just a matter if you get Vasilevsky standing on his head or not. It's a 5-1 final.
Minus 550 is like the average price right now. There's a minus 600, a minus 600, a minus 630. And wait a second. Does that say minus 663? That guy just said, fuck it. I've had enough.
No more betting on.
I've had enough.
Every parlay has got the bolts today.
Has to.
I mean,
it has to. Minus 663. I've never seen that in my life. That guy just said the hell with it. Yeah, 663. I don't want to take another bet on the Lightning. Enough.
Done.
God.
Here's an interesting game. You mentioned Vegas not being on there. Here is why. Vegas is 8-1-1 to the under on the road over their last 10 games.
In the first.
Chicago is 5-5.
Period or game?
Game. Full game.
Oh, okay.
Full game. 8-1-1 to the under. Chicago's 5-5.
That's a tough play.
Right? That's why Chris kept it off.
That's a tough play.
Tough game to predict, tough game to play, but I lean under.
Yeah.
You want an under, I would lean towards the under.
Yeah. I guess under would be the side. I don't like it at all. That's enough working there that I feel like I don't have any edge. I'll just pass and play a different game.
There's way better games to bet. Yeah. Just better games on the docket to bet today.
Yeah.
I mentioned Philly. They're 40-18 on the puck line. You get plus money tonight taking the Flyers against Edmonton, plus 1.5 goals.
What?
Yeah.
Seems
40 and 18.
overvalued, right?
I mean,
seems how are you getting plus money on this? The Edmonton numbers are jacked up, are they not?
we'll get to them. We'll get to the total in a second. Yes, they're absolutely jacked up, but it's because they're hitting them consistently. I mean, it is an absolute.
Oh, JC from KC said Vegas is starting a goalie making his NHL debut. Oh, there you go.
That's dangerous. Those guys go under normally.
Right.
Those are dangerous bets because you think, oh, he's going to be awful, and then all of a sudden he stands on his head. That's what happened with the Flyers. That kid, the Flyers, has started. I don't know if he's starting tonight or not for the Flyers, but that kid, he's 6-0 since they brought him up.
Man, that's a tough game. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would rather have the Flyers on the puck line than Edmonton, that's for sure.
All right. Yesterday, I pushed on a betting of 7. Didn't go back to the well today.
Which game?
I pushed on Ducks and Panthers yesterday. 4-3
final.
4-3 final. Flyers Oilers at 7 today. Can you bet the over on that?
I would only bet over. You want to bet under in this game?
No, absolutely
not. Are you crazy?
No way.
Yeah, there's no way.
In case you guys don't know, Edmonton is 38-16-3 on the year to the over.
There's no chance you could bet under.
And at
7
home,
might be a stop, but it's not a reverse.
Yeah.
All right.
19-7-3 to the over at home for Edmonton. And then on the road, Flyers are okay on the road. They're actually an under team. They're 15-13-2 on the under, but that's not a dramatic when you're playing the Edmonton. It's not dramatic. So it's just, yeah, you can only bet over in this game. That's the only game you can really stomach to bet over. We'll have more hockey bets that I've made for better to book it.
Season debut for the guy. Perrault is an
Perrault,
former Jets
Perrault?
goalie. Yeah.
Wait a minute.
I don't know how to say
Russ wasn't. I thought he was. Really? He's playing tonight?
That's what it says.
Hold on, I gotta look that up.
I was with him last year.
Yeah, he was phenomenal. That's actually I almost might bet the under that now that he's starting.
That's what it says.
Let me check on my site. Oh, he is. Brossois up. He's confirmed. How about that? Wow. But who is this? The kid in net for the Blackhawks, I don't know much about.
No idea.
That's a problem.
It's crazy because he used to study the goaltenders and stuff, like you said, and you got a guy like Chris doing it. It doesn't even matter who the goalie is.
Doesn't matter. I mean, that's what I learned. I mean, after betting this year, I've learned it doesn't matter. Like, okay, for teams like Vasilevsky and teams like Gustafsson for Minnesota or Hellebuck for Winnipeg. Yeah, okay. But
when the drop off is that far, right?
For those guys. Yeah, for those guys. But
right.
for like Allmark to Swayman is not huge. I mean,
not that big of a difference.
Not that big of a drop. So you can bet those teams that have 2 decent goaltenders. You don't have to worry about it. I mean, would you bet Hellebuck to win the Vezina right now?
I would think
he was unbelievable last night. I mean, I watched almost the entire game, and like Allmark's numbers are better, but the Bruins block so many shots. He doesn't see that many shots. Not many shots get through. Hellebuck was like a pinball machine last night. I mean, the pucks were flying around like crazy, and he was unreal, giving up one goal.
Allmark's minus 180. Hellebuck is 4-1.
Yeah.
And Sorokin is plus 550.
I like
then
Hellebuck
Ottinger is 9-1.
He's been great too.
Wow. I would bet the pluses on those.
Right.
Because
I think there might be some, like, I don't know, the voters might go, oh, Mark, you were great, but like you played on a really good offensive team and a really good defensive team. You didn't have to be that good. Like, you didn't see the same shots. Hellebuck's on a team that gives up a ton of shots, and he's unbelievable this year. I would vote if I was going to bet for a Vezina. I don't really like betting these markets, but Hellebuck to win the Vezina, I think, is a good play.
It's not a bad bet.
Yeah, at 4-1, I think it's a good. It's.
I mean, with 20-something games left, if Linus gets hurt, it's done. It's over.
Right.
You know, or they rest him to get Swayman more. Who knows?
Fair.
Like,
Yeah, we don't know what Jim Montgomery, first-year head coach, we don't know what Jim Montgomery's gonna do heading into the playoffs, whether or
No.
not he's gonna bench his starters and take it easy and take his foot off the gas. We don't know what his philosophy is gonna be heading down the stretch.
I'm surprised that he's that big of a minus, and I'm surprised that Hellebuck is that big of a plus at 4-1.
Yeah, I think it's a good bet. All right, let's get to some football. We'll get to hockey during Better to Book It. We'll go back to it. Aaron Rodgers right now at multiple offshores is by far, according to the odds, most likely headed to the Raiders. Minus 200. Everybody else is plus money.
Oh, am I going to have to get Raiders stuff? Oh, my God.
We buying this? Adam Hill told us at the Super Bowl from the Las Vegas Review-Journal that he has heard loud and clear that Rodgers to Vegas is
He did tell us.
very possible and very much going to happen, is what he's hearing.
I believe Adam.
I can't wait to see what they trade, because the rumor is it's not what you think. Like, Aaron Rodgers is not going to command like multiple first-round picks.
No?
No. That according to a report that came out yesterday that said, look, if the Packers hear from Rodgers when he comes out of this retreat, or, came out of it yesterday, I guess, whenever he tells them what he's going to do, if it's, look, guys, it's been fun, I want to go somewhere else, his contract is so brutal that it's like going to be a second or a third round pick. And you got to take all of it. And then Aaron Rodgers, and then he's going to have to restructure the deal. Whoever he goes to, he's going to have to restructure it.
All these contracts and stuff, it's like I don't know what they mean. It's so like you can just
$60 million.
You can this, you can that, like you can this. This counts against it this year, and then the next year it's kind of. They figured out like how to have contracts, but it's such bullshit.
That's part of the game, right? It's part of the sport, part of the manipulation of the salary cap. How do you get the best team and kick the can down the road financially?
Right.
But Rodgers is owed $60 million next year. And so Vegas would take it, and Vegas would have to do some things, work some contracts out and whatnot. But I'm assuming that you would see multiple players take pay cuts to get Aaron Rodgers. And I think Aaron Rodgers would take a pay cut to come here in some form or fashion. It's too bad they can't give him ownership.
1 or 2 years. That's it. That's all you get.
Correct.
I think, right?
I would agree. Yeah, I think that's it. In particular, if you win. But if you make one playoff run with Aaron Rodgers, that's all you need. Think about what the ticket sales are going to be like.
Oh, Maiden just said he might only play 1 or 2 years. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah,
thanks,
that's
Maiden.
fine. I agree. And that's another reason why he's probably going to be a second or a third round pick. And maybe you change the deal, and if Rodgers plays for 2 seasons, it's a first round pick or something like that. But
structured that way.
It's not going to be as expensive as people think. It's not going to be some like massive haul, because the contract is so cumbersome for whoever takes him. It gives the Packers such incredible relief for the salary cap next year, heading into the draft.
Who's playing quarterback?
Jordan Love. Yeah.
Whew.
Jordan Love's the guy. That's who they think. That's the guy.
That's the guy.
So, and Rodgers gets to go to Vegas and gets to play with his best friend. And we get to watch. I mean, if you're a ticket holder for the Raiders, where'd you go?
I'm right here. Hold on.
What are you doing? He just disappeared. I was like,
something and hurt the bottom of my foot, and I want to know what it was.
Oh, Dave did a magic trick. You're right.
What the hell that was? Yeah, it's fine.
Oh, all right.
How a rock got under my foot.
Oh,
I don't know what that is.
Princess and the Pea. Look out. So Rodgers, watch for that minus 200. We'll see how that goes. All right. Big college basketball night.
Yeah, it is.
There are some monster games on the hardwood coming up in college basketball. Let's start going through a couple of them. We'll go by the rankings. Texas is the highest ranked team in action tonight. They are laying 6.5 points at home against Iowa State. You keep on riding this Texas train. You laying 6.5 tonight?
What's Iowa State's record on the road?
ATS 5-7.
I don't want them. I think yes. I mean, initially, wow, it's 7.5 in 2 places that
It's
I
gone
looked
up now.
at.
All right.
7 everywhere.
Steam on Texas.
Yeah, I
Iowa
I don't
State's a
want
mo-
Iowa State.
So there's two contrasts here. Iowa State, if they're in this game goes under. They are 17-9 to the under overall on the year. They're 8-4 to the under on the road. Texas is 15-9-3 to the over. 3 pushes. That's incredible. 9-4-3 at home to the over. So I think it really is going to be how the game is played. If it's played at Texas's pace and
Right.
played fast, Texas wins and covers. Game goes
Mm.
over. If it goes Iowa State's pace, game goes under, Iowa State covers. To me, this is an in-game bet. I got to see what the pace of the play is going to be.
Right.
If Iowa State can bleed it and grind it, make it an ugly basketball game, then I think Iowa State's live to cover, live to go to the under. If it's Texas, high flying, riding the home crowd, doing Texas type things,
Yeah.
look out.
I don't know. I mean, the total's 136.5. This is going to be a. So I mean, I'll watch this later. I don't know if I'll have anything on it. I got to really see how this plays out without pregame. I'm not excited about it at all.
Okay. Baylor is at Kansas State, the other big game in the Big 12. Baylor is only 5-6-1 ATS on the road. They're laying 2 points, however.
Yeah.
Kansas State is 11-4 at home ATS.
Yeah.
Wildcats the side. Home dogs have been
I would
very
think
good.
so. Yeah. Again, another game, not really crazy about the side. I think pregame, it would only be K-State, but
Well, it was so weird because Baylor played so well in the first half on the road against Kansas
and then
and then threw up all over themselves
Yeah.
and got Fog Island. I mean,
Yeah.
that's college basketball. When a place like Fog Island, I've been there multiple times. When that place gets rocking, like good luck, might be the hardest place to play in the country.
right.
And they just crumbled. Like it was all Kansas in the second half in that game. Lost it by 16 points.
Right.
So here's K-State in the Little Apple. I'm not saying their building is anywhere near what Fog Island is, but it's going to be a really daunting environment tonight. K-State fans are going to be in your face.
The line open. There hasn't been much movement, huh? No.
I like K-State tonight to win this game
Okay.
outright.
Yeah,
Total's
148?
148. I mean, they both teams are K-State's an
Super
under.
high.
Yeah, under team at home. Baylor 7-5 to the over. I was on the over for Kansas and Baylor, and that came in really easily. I would lean towards the over, but I don't like it.
I'm looking. It's funny. I'm looking at the line history. It's circa.
Yeah.
It's 1.5, 2, 1.5 pick, 1.5. That's fun. That's moving the number, boys. That's what they're doing there. So you got good two-way. This line will close right around here. 1.5, 2.
Okay. The game that I am the most interested in, and I'm assuming the Consig family is not staying in Omaha for it.
No, they're trying to beat this storm that's coming. There's
Another one?
Do you know what's coming here in about an hour or two?
Yeah.
Have you seen this advisory?
Yeah, the winds are going to be 50 to 75 miles per hour.
I already took the allergy pill. You can feel it outside already. The wind is coming and it's just going to get my eyes and cause all the sneezing and everything else.
So they're trying to get here before the wind.
Trying to get here
before the wind
gets there because you know what's coming there. It's going to, the low here in the next couple of days is going to be 27 and 28 again. It's one of those winter winds. So it's going to get very cold here in the next couple of days again. But you know what that means.
Already sick, really? Like my kids are already sick. Like I don't need this. This is not a crowd.
You're gonna be hopping, but
unbelievable game tonight. Marquette coming in. This is part of Better to Book It, so I'm not going to tell you, but you could probably guess where I'm going. Can Marquette win this game?
Why not?
Because this is when this building is going to be like this. This is maybe the hardest place to play in the Big East.
Marquette's a pretty good basketball team, though. No,
they are. They're 8-3-1 ATS on the road. The Jays are 7-6. Marquette's 11-5 in Big East play, but they They've only covered once over the last 4 games. They're leaking oil. They lost to UConn on the road. They lost to Xavier on the road. I think they're losing to Creighton on the road.
They could lose, but they could cover.
They could, but the
And
problem
there's
is
still a couple
Marquette.
sixes floating around.
They can't. Marquette cannot rebound. They're one of the worst rebounding teams in the country. And the Jays have a
Creighton good
7-footer.
rebounding team.
Yeah, they have a 7-footer player of the year candidate in Ryan Kalbrunner. So if the Jays run their offense through Kalbrunner like they normally do, and rebounding, I think the Jays are going to win on the glass. I think that's going to be the difference in the game, is that the Creighton rebounding is going to be monster. And they're not. I mean, the Jays get pushed around by Xavier, by UConn, by Providence. Those 3 teams are all tougher than the Jays. Marquette will not be tougher than Creighton, and that's a huge advantage for the Jays to not have to worry about that. Marquette plays fast. Yeah,
This feels like a game over, no?
Yep, I would expect it to be over. Yeah, I think, but it's weird. The Jays defense has come out of nowhere. They're all of a sudden they're a top 25 adjusted efficiency defensively in the country with KenPom, which is like, wait, what? It's not typical for the Jays, but
initial move was on the under, but they used the 148 to open. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, because 148 was the 150 is what KenPom has from a total perspective.
Oh wow, okay.
So KenPom's right there with the same total. But I think the Jays win. The matter is, can they cover this or not? They didn't cover against UConn, but that's because UConn is just such a difficult team and a more physical team than the Jays are. We'll get to it in Better to Book It, but I can't wait for this game. Blew out. This is the annual Blew Out. This is what I started the whiteout when I was there. The Jays never were doing.
You said blew out. I was going to correct you and say, are you supposed to be saying blowout?
No, blue.
You're saying blew out.
Blue color, blew out.
The same color that's in the Canadians uniform, red, white, and blue.
Thanks, Sport Grid, for that promo, by the way.
Put that all over. I mean, we talked about it with
French.
Gabe and Cam. I retweeted it. Everybody wanted to know, are you colorblind? All these things.
That jersey sucks.
Got glasses for you.
Jersey sucks. So let's be honest.
Red, white, and blue.
There's no way any Canadian fan looks at that jersey and they're like, yeah, that's a sharp looking jersey. That's a nice sweater.
It's a play off the Expos.
It's a horrible jersey. It's an absolute. It's a bad look.
Blue, blanc, and rouge, just like I said in the commercial.
And they suck, and they suck, and they suck. So it all comes down. The team sucks. The jersey sucks. It's all good. But it's going to be really interesting to see the crowd atmosphere, how Marquette handles it, because the first couple of minutes. When I was there,
blowout potential.
Yes. I've seen this before. Coach Mack is 3-1 against Shaka Smart. The Jays and Marquette are longtime historic Jesuit rivals. Like, people don't really understand the rivalry there, but Marquette was always the team that went, and Creighton was always left behind. They're both Midwest schools, but one's in Milwaukee and one's in Omaha. And for a long time, Milwaukee was a much bigger city than Omaha. And so Omaha just built their way up. And Marquette's, everything about Marquette was just bigger, better. And the Jays were always envious. Longtime Creighton people, always envious of Marquette. Got them in their building for first place in the Big East tonight. Monster game.
Okay.
Monster game. Cannot wait to watch it. Tennessee is on the road at Texas A&M, and we have a home favorite in A&M against Tennessee.
Wonder what Tyler Betsmart has to say about that. If Tyler's in the chat,
what do you make of this game?
I don't know. Tennessee is caca on the road, right?
Well, I mean, I don't know. They're 5-8 on the road. They're 5-8 ATS on the road.
That's shit.
A&M is 10-4 at home ATS.
Right. 5-8 is shit. There's no other way to say it. Caca, poop, whatever you want to call it.
A&M is 5-0 ATS over the last 5. Tennessee is 1-4 ATS over the last 5.
Lay it.
Right? Feels that way. It's up to 2.5 now.
Yeah. It's got to be a play.
Say that out loud if you want. Just not the best team in the country. On top of the fact
that which,
not healthy.
Kessler, you got to shout him out because he bet those 4 futures
and then tagged you on Twitter.
Right. And we did tag him. We said we would talk about him on the show.
Right.
How many of those teams do you think are going to make the tournament that he bet?
Make the tournament?
Just make it.
2.
That's okay. I hope 2 do, and I hope one of them wins a game. and then we can really talk about it. But USC, Clemson,
Forget the
forget
4
who
he
the other
bet.
two were off the top of my head.
One was a 10-1.
Everything he bet was 300 to 1 or higher.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, he took a shot. I mean,
So yeah,
it's just
100-1, 30-1. Does
But
he
I mean,
normally do that? Like he was talking like the portfolio is something he always does.
every single year.
Oh, okay.
Every single year he starts buying them, but he buys them in September and October when they come out. So, like, he had Dayton the year that Obi Toppin had them
Right.
as the number 1 seed, and
Yeah.
COVID canceled the tournament.
Oh,
He had North Carolina last year. He bought it a week before the tournament at 200 to 1 or 175 to 1. He got to the
wow.
final game and was leading at halftime and lost. So he's done this before at Aaron Kessler on the Twitter. Yeah, he does this every year. Picks college basketball teams, and he'll do this sometimes he'll get crazy with like NASCAR and weird stuff.
Tyler
always-
just texted us. You asked him to comment in the chat. He just texted us. I don't know if he's watching, but
Oh,
Rick Barnes has lost 6 consecutive games as a road underdog in 9 of his last 10. He's 9-21 over his last 30. On the flip side, Buzz Williams has won 9 in a row as a home favorite, 15 of 16 and 27 of his last 30.
you want that guy?
so
I don't
again,
want that guy.
Tennessee is not the number 1 team in the country. That just
I don't want
confirms
that guy. Yeah.
confirms my point that Tennessee is not the number 1 team in the country. Let's see. One more. Miami is catching 2.5 points on the road at Va Tech. This is another home favorite that's not ranked. So there's a trend out there right now, Dave.
I just got a text. I have to tell you.
Okay.
John Henry and FSG also just bought the Penguins a few months ago.
Yes.
Look what happened to them.
That's right.
About, this is
He's right. Whoever texted you, that's right.
that's Train. Thank you, Train.
He's right. I mean, he's absolutely right. I mean, the Fenway Sports Group right now, something happened to John Henry's money, and he is systematically dismantling 3 proud franchises, and the fan bases all want him gone. All of them. Penguin fans, Red Sox fans, soccer fans, football fans in Liverpool. They all want him to sell. They all want him to be out. Like, give it to somebody else. He spread himself too thin, did too many things, went into NASCAR, and then the economy flipped on his head.
Wow.
And the guy is struggling in a big way.
Not
taking questions from the media. Such a coward move. You get a soft landing, cushy email interview that where you respond to questions. It's such a soft look.
Weak.
Really bad.
Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but
No,
I
it's
just
good,
saw
but
that text.
you're
And I
right.
was like, God.
There's a trend going on right now about unranked home teams in college basketball
Yes.
up against ranked teams on the road.
Yes.
It's hitting at like a 70% clip.
70 is good.
It's killing it right now.
Yep.
Va Tech, and so the books are shading it because they're getting all action on the unranked home team.
So you want Virginia Tech in this spot?
That's the play. Yeah, Va Tech
I
is the
know.
play. And not that I want it
They don't
personally.
win
No,
all the time. It's not
No.
100%. Like,
No.
I like Miami.
I like Miami a lot. They're 9-3 ATS on the road, and they're 13-4 in the ACC. I like Miami a lot.
Did all right, I see you. Guys are texting me saying, say hello. So Butchie the Bookie said if he didn't, he's going to blow up my phone and get
Roll
everybody
call
mad.
Friday is Friday.
I know, but
Not roll call Tuesday.
I think who'd Miami play last game? North Carolina. We were getting
one and
points
covered. Yep, I bet them.
on the road.
Yeah, on the road.
Yeah, got to be Miami.
I like Miami.
Got to be Miami.
I'm gonna fade the gambling Twitter run. The gambling Twitter side, I will fade. Okay, one quick more story before we get to better to book it.
Yep.
Story out yesterday here locally in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Headline: Las Vegas confronts obstacles as Super Bowl host. there are some who are concerned that Las Vegas might not be ready as the host of the Super Bowl. You concerned at all? You were talking about traffic.
I just went this morning. I'm going back down there as soon as we finish this show.
Glutton for punishment.
I am. And then I got to go to the airport again tonight. And I can tell you this, getting to and from the airport sucks right now. The road is actually not even, it's a mess right now because they're going to redo the roads
Yep.
for the F1.
Yep.
So they stripped whatever top layer was on Paradise and on Las Vegas Boulevard. It's bumpy like an old cobblestone street in Pittsburgh. Like,
Right. Yeah. Stripped up. Yep.
It's
It's like an aerated green.
Yeah. That's for you, Mikey. Awesome. That's what it's when you're driving. Your bottle of water's bouncing like this. It's terrible right now. The city has a lot to get ready for.
Well, here's why I brought this up and put this up, because this is a PSA to anyone who is thinking about coming to Vegas. Did you know, because I did not before I read this article, that the NFL takes up thousands of hotel rooms a month before the game?
What do you mean?
The NFL comes here a month before the game and sets up shop. We go from CES. We go from CES, which will end on January 20th. Hold on, let me show you the article right. We go from CES right at the end of it, and we go straight into the NFL taking over the entire city for a month. A month.
How many rooms?
Thousands. Thousands of rooms the NFL takes up for the Super Bowl. It's one of the parts of the deal when you go to get the Super Bowl.
Oh.
It's one of the deal.
Really?
The NFL takes over thousands of hotel rooms in cities in which they play a full month before the date of the game. That means the NFL arrivals should occur right at the tail end of CES that's scheduled from January 9th to January 12th.
Which is as busy of a weekend as you could possibly have down on that strip.
It's the biggest convention we do is CES over those 4 days.
It's a monster. Yeah. And it causes so much commotion. Like getting in and out when you work down there that week.
Disaster.
It's hard. You have to change your life for 2 or 3 or 4 days, depending on which days you work, just getting to and from work. Places you normally eat for lunch when you work down, you can't, because if the convention comes out at that time, you don't get close. You only have 45 minutes for lunch. Or
I used to
hour.
park when I worked at Palazzo, when I worked at Legazzi Stadium, I would park at Treasure Island.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't get to that. I couldn't cross over the strip.
Right.
So I could only so I'd fight my way to Treasure Island, park at Treasure Island, and then walk.
Yeah. I did that every day. Yeah.
That's
when I worked at Venetian,
junk.
I did it every day. Yep.
Oh, I hated that.
I can't believe they take thousands of rooms. What the hell are they taking thousands of rooms from? You can take a whole hotel over. Like, just take over a hotel. Like,
I'm bringing this up because if you guys are planning not to go to the game, just coming to that week, because we're going to have some pretty cool things planned. It's going to be, I would start looking at off-strip casinos now.
Did I just look down at the chat and see this correctly? But BetSmart, Tyler, has a balcony for F1, though?
Oh, my. At Caesar's Palace?
At Cosmo.
At Cosmo. That's a great spot. Up high.
Listen, boys and girls, if you're watching the show, get us a sponsor for the show, please. Like, I need Tyler to sponsor the show. He's got a balcony at the Cosmo, which is nice enough. That F1 weekend, we're going to have to bring the security force to walk him around. Like, you can't just get a room with a balcony for the F1 right now. You must know some powerful people. Tyler,
he knows some people
after the show.
He knows some people. So just FYI, we're already seeing it. Vegas is going to be the countdown has started. But if you're thinking about coming here, Aliante to the north, Red Rock to the west, the new casino that will open up this fall, which is going to be called Durango. We'll be looking at that. southwest part of the city. Green Valley, rather.
Valley Ranch.
Green Valley Ranch. I'll be looking at that in Henderson. Like, if you're coming here and you're thinking about coming here, the Vegas Strip is just going to be almost impossible in the month of January with CES. Just for example, CES rooms, the Flamingo normally runs anywhere from $59 to $99 a night. During CES, it's $1,000 a night.
Yeah.
So we're going to go from that into the NFL taking every room that's available in the city. Just taking it up.
Our guy Mark Meltzer posted yesterday the initial room rates that he saw for Caesars properties, and Flamingo was the lowest priced one at $799 a night
during the Super Bowl weekend.
Yeah,
that's actually pretty cheap. Wow, I'm surprised.
Yeah,
that's cheaper than CES.
Yeah, $799 a night was the lowest.
So that's
somebody said, Dave, can I stay at your house? No, you cannot stay at my house. No, none of you. I love you all, but you cannot stay at my house because my wife will kill me, and I can't have that happen. So no,
lots of people are going to have very Airbnb conversations. Like, I mean, I know it seems like it's a long time away, but it's really not, and it's going to be very interesting.
356 days away right now.
There we go. Time for bet it or book it time. If Dave likes it, he bets it. If he doesn't, he books it. These are bets I have made for the action tonight. Let's start with Vancouver and Nashville. Vancouver 9-0-1 over the last 10 over on the road. They've got Colin Delia in net tonight, 4.15 goals against average against Saros with a 2.73 goals against average, but last two games for Saros, 9 goals given up. Nashville is 4-4-2 over the last 10 at home, but I like the over 6.5.
Over the total. Yes, over the easy. Done.
Easy.
Bet it.
The Minnesota Wild are on an 18-2 run to a first period under.
So what is if you ask me if I want to bet it or book it, I'm hanging up right now. You finish the show yourself. Yes, we're betting it. Yes.
Okay.
We're betting it until the streak ends. Yes.
Yes. Well, I'm betting it the rest of the year. Forget the streak. I'm betting it the rest of the year. This is just an automatic bet every night.
We only have 20 games left to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but it'll turn like you heard Chris say it.
That's better. It'll turn to the under. That's good. They're an under team. He said overs go under. What, all of a sudden unders go over? No, they don't. They get more competitive, not less.
You just have to be very careful with the team.
The books are gonna. I think the books eventually will stop giving us plus money. It was plus 115 at DraftKings. It was plus 110 this morning at Circa.
Boys, if you're watching the show, just make it even money. Do yourself a favor. Get the boss off your back. Get ahead of the move. Let him, you keep giving away this plus money. Brigade's going to come after you. I can't help you. Then.
I mean, it's an automatic 1-unit bet every time. But there's a little bit of a scary one. Like I said during the interview with Chris Otto. So I'm playing under first period, over second period, and under for the game. Under 6.
It's a lot of plays.
So Minnesota is
over.
Minnesota's
under in the first period,
under
over
1.5
period, under for the
over
game,
1.5. Yes, over 1.5 second period.
Okay,
under in the game.
Okay,
8-2 to the under at home, 4-1 over the last 5 with Gustafsson in net for Minnesota. Quick shut out the Wild earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
I need that version of Jonathan Quick tonight. Because the Kings are 7-2-1 to the over.
Yeah.
Last 10. So that's the one stop sign.
Damn.
But
he just put in the chat. He just left Boulder Station and got the Blues and the Oilers second period over parlay plus 115.
I gotta go.
So there you go.
So at stations they let him parlay it?
That's what he just said.
Beautiful. Get off the phone and make that call. That would be. Gotta do that fast. Before we let go to Sports Grid, let's go ahead and put that. One more. We'll do two quick bets.
Go ahead.
Blues, St. Louis, Hurricanes. Hurricanes are 6-2-2. Last 10 to the over. Hurricanes 7-3.
Hurricanes.
Numbers gone down.
I'll book
6.
this one. Yeah.
You can get 6 now.
I'll book this one.
Hurricanes are scoring goals like crazy right now.
Yeah.
Crazy. Offensive explosion for the Hurricanes. We're right in this.
Like over.
Offense. Under is the move. 6 now.
You got under.
I have over.
Oh,
I
okay.
have
Yeah,
over
yeah,
six and
yeah.
a
I
half.
like under.
Move came on
I
the
like
6.
I like
So
under.
you can get, if you want to bet under, it's 6 now. So I even like over 6 even more now. And then the parlay that E was talking about was St. Louis, second period, over 1.5, 10-1, 10-1 run for the Blues, second period over.
Ooh.
Edmonton, 22-4, second period over.
Wow. It's the absolute play. Yes, bet. Yes.
Parlay
bet it.
those two together, you get plus money. Stations in Vegas here today got plus, Eric said plus 150. So this is
Plus 153 at BetMGM, Nate S said.
love it. Love that bet.
Copley's playing for the Kings tonight, not quick.
I
SoCal
hate
DJ
that.
just said that.
Dang it. It's okay though. He's been good. Copley's actually has he been better? I'll check that once we let go of Sports Grid. Good stuff there. Sports Grid, thank you so much. Appreciate it. We're back tomorrow for a Wednesday. If you guys live on YouTube and Twitter, don't move, more to come with BVB. Let me see that really quick here with
What are you looking at?
Copley. Yeah, Copley's been better than quick. I like my bet better now. Copley 17-3-1, 2.70 goals against average. He's been better than Quick. On the road, Copley's got a 2.94 goals against, a little higher. He's 8-1 though on the road. So I like that better. That's better for my under. That Copley's in net. That's good. That could be a 5.5.
Kings are live in that game too.
Sure. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, Wild aren't scoring. I mean, that's why they're going under so often. They're just not scoring. So it's it's there. And then Creighton minus 5.5 at home against Marquette.
Oh, I mean, I hope you're right for Creighton fans and people watching the show and stuff. I think this would be a very close game. I would take the dog. I think the books will need a dog. I'm good with needing the dog here. I have not experienced
the numbers are this. So the Jays have won 7 of 9 over Marquette. Coach Mack is 3-1 against Shaka Smart. Jays have won 8 straight games. They're 12-1 at home straight up. Marquette has lost at home on the road to UConn by 15, lost to Xavier by 4 when they were favored by 3 points. And you have another top 10 team on the road who have really had a tough run this year with Marquette. It's been a house of horrors for 1 through 10 has been a house of horrors in college basketball.
Right.
It's not good when you're in the top 10. So those are the numbers. And the Jays, I think rebounding is going to be a huge factor in that game. I cannot wait. That's the get your popcorn ready game of the day for me. It's Creighton and Marquette. Blue out, all blue. So
the baby blue?
Creighton blue. So it's baby blue. Yeah.
Okay.
It is baby blue. You'll see a lot of the
I heart that game later myself.
You will see the I Heart BJ shirts everywhere. So students pull that out for big TV games. It's phenomenal.
Can you imagine I could have a daughter that's going there and it's going to get me her first probably year. If she goes, she'll definitely get me one of those shirts. 100%. She's going to get me one of those shirts.
Oh no! Look out! Look out!
100%.
Yeah, those are not team authorized T-shirts. Those are not in the team store.
Right up my alley.
Those are not.
Get them from a guy or a girl.
I know they get them. They get it from Lawlers. They get it from the people that used to sponsor me. I used to have more Creighton gear than you could dream of. They gave me whatever I wanted. I would walk in and they'd just go, "Take what you want, Matt." And go in. Lawlers is online. You guys can go. They're the number one store for Creighton gear, but it's authorized and unauthorized stuff. Lawlers in Omaha.
Right up my alley.
Yep. Your wife's coming back and going to move you to Omaha.
Oh God.
Favorite thing about today is what?
My morning trip to the airport today was to pick up my friend Moses the barber and his son and his son's friend. And then I got to meet cousin Michael from there, who's already here. There's a bunch of people coming more from Pittsburgh.
Oh, my.
There's a big lunch planned in an hour that I'm going. There's a cigar convention in town. This is the cigar convention. And our other guy, Steve, is coming.
Aren't we supposed to have a meeting?
We are supposed to have some sort of thing with him. But he somehow is so busy. yet expects us to jump every time he comes. I'm going to talk to Steve about this, but he's very busy all the time and doesn't return texts and calls. But then when he texts us, says, "Are you coming down here to have a meet and greet and all this other stuff?" So, but the
Get me
cigar convention's here.
I'll take the cigars you don't want.
You get them all. That's fine.
Hook me up.
Or we give them to the brigade members
Oh.
and stuff until we work something out. We can.
I
Get 'em
I
filled
saw
and
those 2
everything.
Cubans that we got from our guy
From
in
Kincaid.
from Kincaid from Philly. I
Yeah.
still have those Cubans are in my humidor.
Oh
I gotta
my.
bust those out at some
Yeah.
point. Maybe
Well,
tonight.
we're
No,
gonna
it's too windy out. No, it sucks. The wind. Ugh. Can't smoke in the wind.
not. I wouldn't recommend that today or tomorrow. Then
Yeah.
it's coming. Either way, I picked him up at the airport. He's texting me now. Can you stop and get me some water?
Oh,
He's in his early 60s, but he acts like he's 80. And his son is Christopher, and I told Chris, go. They were all excited. It's his first time in Vegas ever. Like him and his buddy John. So I picked him up at the airport and drove up the strip. And they're just looking around like this. Looking around like this. I'm like, gosh, you got 3 days. You're not going home till Friday. It's a long trip. Like, ease into it.
pace yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Vegas. Pace
so
yourself.
I told them, go with your cousin, go to the strip. Mark, take a nap because it was a long trip. He was tired, cranky. I said, take a nap. I'll finish the show. I'll come back and get you. We'll go eat. We'll do all the fun things that we did when we were younger. He acts like he's 80. First time in Vegas since 1992 for him when we came together on a junket when the Steelers were going to go to the Super Bowl. We booked everything and they lost to fucking Stan Humphries and the fucking Chargers as huge favorites. And me and him were the only ones that didn't cancel the trip.
Oh,
So
you went?
him and I came here. We stayed at Harrah's,
Oh,
and the stories from that trip alone are all going to come up in the next 3 days. I
very
can't wait.
nice.
It's going to be an awesome trip. That's my favorite thing about today.
Well, for me, it was going to be the things I was going to do that have all now been canceled because I have my daughter home here. So that was a one of those days of like, oh, great things lined up, and it's all out the window because my kid was supposed to be at school until 3:30, and she's now here. So
What'd you have lined up?
oh, just things I had to do, places I wanted to go, good shopping stuff, gym, go to the gym, do different things I want to do,
Oh,
and now I can't do it. So my favorite thing about today,
We're gonna go box.
I was going to, yeah, that was part of it. Yeah, I was going to go hit.
Go to that gym with you.
I was going to go hit, and not happening now. My favorite thing about today is Chris and the fact that we got a chance to get PSU Auto on the show because I had never met him. That's the first time I'd seen him, first time I'd spoken to him. Him and I have been texting and doing DMing and whatever on socials and stuff for months now.
He's on our time zone. He lives there, Pittsburgh. He's
right.
on our
I
time
was gonna say, he's in Pittsburgh. I thought I was like East Coast time. Yes,
10:30, 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Like it's nothing.
nothing.
Here,
Yeah,
it's 2 o'clock.
he's looking at numbers, looking at different plays and whatnot,
It's right.
and a lot of people. I'm glad that he's getting the recognition and, as the kids say, getting his flowers at the moment from people who have been using his stuff because the work he's put in for the last 2-3 years has been really fun. I first started looking at his stuff 3 years ago, betting it 2 years ago, and then this year is by far when I've been using it literally every day, betting it every day, watching it every day, analyzing it, using it for research and using it for bets. And I've had the best betting year so far ever in hockey I've ever had.
Makes hockey betting fun when you got it like that.
It's just different because we talked about it a bit yesterday, but betting on hockey, because the numbers are pretty much consistent, 6.5, 7, somewhere in that range. You don't have to bet a side. It doesn't really matter who wins if you're betting totals. And betting hockey totals is just, if you were betting the Bruins puck line, Edmonton overs, Vancouver on the road overs, you could have put a wing on your house. Like, just bet it and let it run. Like, just watch it go.
Very good.
It's ridiculous right now, and it's absolutely crazy because of the numbers and because it's it's all these bets are hitting at 65 to 75%.
Yep.
Getting over on the juice, getting even when they're juiced up 160, 170, doesn't matter. You just bet them. Like it comes in. So
Right.
that was really, I'm glad we put him on. That was a lot of fun to get him on to be a part of it. So guys, if you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do that. We're trying to get to 1,000 at some point in the very near future. So help us do that. If you've not subscribed to the audio podcast, go do that. Had a lot of cool things going on. So we'll do that. Tomorrow, we'll get to a lot of college basketball and more hockey betting tomorrow. Farah, Dave, Matt,